Hi there, my name is Anne, and on this channel I try to learn myself some art. I try to learn how to draw specifically, and in this video I'm going to try to learn how to draw hair. I'm going to follow two tutorials, actually three, but I'll explain that later. So the first one is by Bailey J, and the second one is by Kirsty Partridge Art. Again, if I say that name wrong, I'm so sorry. The one from Bailey J is how to draw braids, and the one from Kirsty is how to draw realistic hair. I'm going to try the one from Bailey J first, but I actually already followed a tutorial of her before this channel, and it's this one. She has a book called Draw and Color the Bailey J Way. I really like that book. I go through it a lot, and I used a tutorial on how to do hair to make this, but I recently found a video of hers because I follow her on YouTube. I think it's the most viewed video on her channel, so I'm going to try and draw Bailey J's tutorial first, and then I'm going to draw Kirsty Partridge Art's video second, because that one looks challenging, but I'm going to try it. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you follow along. Okay, to start with, first, please ignore this. This is just a test that I did, and it was not useful. Second of all, I watched Bailey's video again, and oh my god, her voice sounds so different. Like, I know that video is more than 8 years old, but still, her voice sounds so different now. I was actually quite shocked by it. But anyway, let's start the video. Okay, the first thing she said was that she starts off her braids with a zigzag pattern because that's easier, so I'm gonna do that. Then she says that at the end of the braid you have to go smaller because that's just how hair works. So I'm gonna try and do that. Okay, now I've done that, I think I need to draw like lines to guide me on how thick the braid is going to be. And I want it quite thick, so yeah, I can always just change that. Okay, good enough. Then she says that you need to connect the braids. So for example, this one goes like that, this one goes like this, stuff like that. Like, just follow along the lines. Okay, that looks kinda good, I think. So this is basically the very first part of the braid. And what I'm going to do now is make the edges rounder, because no braid is straight like that. Not a single hair on a person is that straight. It has curves and edges. Okay, now I'm actually kind of drawing the elastic band in which the hair sits, and now I'm going to draw the bottom half of the hair. She gives different methods on how to draw it, and I think I'm going to make it so it's like one piece here. As you can see, I went way past the guidelines. I don't really think that matters. It's fine like that. Oh, I forgot to round out these edges, which is something you also have to do. I kind of really like that. Okay. And what I found very handy about her tutorial was that she actually also explains how you draw the top part of the head. So like how the braid connects to the head. That is something that I haven't seen a lot of tutorials do. And I really liked it because it was helpful. So I'm going to try and recreate it. I don't know if I remember this correctly, but I can always give a shot. And then you just draw a couple strands that like indicates that the hair is going inside of the braid. And she draws like one bigger strand that goes out like this. Like that. Okay, let's try that one again, because I didn't do that correctly. Okay, the next part is going to be filling these ones in, but before I do that, I'm going to 1, erase this part, like the guidelines, and 2, define the outlines a little bit more so I can see them better. Okay, the next part is going to be basically giving the hair more individual strands like I did at the top. And she said to not use straight lines, but like go along with how your ponytail is shaped. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to look at what she does. She does more like individual strands, so, and not too many, so let's try that. Okay, I tried to not use too much pressure and I like this part a lot. So I'm going to try and do that. Like, no harsh lines like I did here. Great, I think my braid is finished. Yeah, I really like this one. I think it turned out great. Okay, she had a lot of suggestions on how to try different braids. Like this one I think looks kind of loosely, and she said that you can create different kind of hairstyles but also drawing styles by either making the edges more jagged. Is that how you say it? Like edgier. Not so many curves. I don't know how to say it in English. I forgot it. And she also gave different examples on how to make different kind of braids. And I really hope you check out the video. I will link it below. It was a very helpful tutorial. And I think this turned out great. Like, compared to this one, yeah, it's better, I think, personally. I don't like this part. I need to figure out this part more, but I think I did okay. So let's go to the next tutorial. Okay, Kirsty's video was very difficult in my opinion. Not that the tutorial was difficult, the tutorial was very helpful, but actually using the steps and trying to create a drawing for the very first time was difficult. If you would look at the end result in a minute, you can see that I still need to learn a lot more, and I just need to practice more, because I did think that the tutorial was useful, but that I still need to learn a lot. She starts off, which I've already done here, is with a light sketch, and she explains that you shouldn't use dark and harsh outlines, because if you look at a person's hair, there are no darks and harsh outlines. You just see hair. There are no outlines around a normal person. And I didn't think about that because you're just so used to drawing outlines, but if you try to draw realistic hair, you aren't allowed to do that. She starts with an H pencil to build up the first layer, and then she uses B and later an even darker pencil, I think it was 5B or something, to make even darker shades. And I'm just gonna say what I found very difficult to use in practice. She said that instead of seeing it as individual strands, you need to see the hair as clumps of hair, because that's how people view hair, in clumps, not strands, so that's how you need to draw it. But if you look at the video, you can see that she draws individual strands of hair, and I didn't know how to recreate that. Sometimes when I tried to use my pencil, it was one solid color and I had no strands, I had no single lines, but then I realized, no wait, that's wrong. But she said to look at it as clumps, but she does draw individual hair strands. So I had a lot of difficulty with that. I didn't really know how to use that correctly and how to do that correctly. Another thing was that she said if you try to draw all the strands, it can look wiry, and I think she meant that if you look at the, outline of the hair, you need to make sure that you don't go above and beyond to make all those little lines of hair. You just need to make sure that there is a smooth edge at the end. Speaking of ends, those are very difficult to draw because you can't just go like in a zigzag motion. So you do need to draw individual strands again, because individual strands, I had no clue how to do those, which means I need to practice way more, which I'm going to do. Another thing that I found very difficult was the erasing bits to create highlights. My highlights aren't good, I know that. If you look at hers, those blend in so smoothly with the hair, and again, it helps because she has beautiful individual strands that lead into the hair. Not strands, strokes, like pencil strokes, lines. Those bleed in beautifully with the highlights. They're not too wide, they're just long enough that it makes sense, and I didn't know how to create that. My highlights weren't like that, so I didn't really know how to do that. My highlights, I think, were the parts where I really struggled. It doesn't look natural. It looks nothing like realistic hair. It just looks like hair, I think, but I think it's partially because of, one, the highlights into the individual, not strands, but strokes. That's my problem with this drawing. I had no individual strokes of my pencil, and I didn't get that exact same result as she did. Another part of the highlights that I found difficult was that you need to erase, like in the first part, after you blend it, and then you do more, and then you blend some more, but then the highlights aren't white anymore because you've erased all of that. And that's another thing that I had issues with. Like, I didn't know if I should erase it then, but then I had just like a white stripe in my drawing, so that was difficult. Another thing is that my eraser, I think, wasn't thin enough. She uses a very small piece of an eraser. I didn't have that. I think that was also a problem. I should have used a much smaller eraser. I should have like got a piece of my big eraser and use that because my erasing strokes, I guess, are very thick, and I think that is another thing that made it very difficult. Another thing that I found difficult was the outlines. So she said don't make outlines. Good, perfect. But how do you create contrast then? I didn't know how to do that because in the left side of my piece there is a strand that goes before all the other strands, and I had no idea how I could make it like that so it stood out, so that there was contrast, because I tried to follow the steps but then everything just blended in together, and I need to figure out how to do that more. One of the things that surprised me while she said it was that you shouldn't use your finger to blend areas because your skin has oil on it, and oil with the charcoal, I guess, of your pencil will blend and it will create different textures throughout your piece. So you should use a tissue instead of your finger. I do have a blending stump, but I wanted to try it with the tissue and it worked perfectly fine. I do think that I have more control with a blending stick, but with such a large area, if you just have to cover the entire thing and not just one pencil stroke, you can definitely use just a tissue. It works perfectly fine. You don't need a big blender. Okay, so here is my finished piece. This was the first time that I tried to draw hair realistically, and it's not that great. So after a couple days I tried it again and it turned out worse. As you can see, it's not that great. I made a lot of mistakes. It was a few days after the tutorial and I didn't remember a lot of stuff. As you can see, it's streaky and not that great, and this one is definitely better than that one, but I still made a lot of mistakes. So I did try again, and I think that this one turned out way better than I expected. I found a smaller eraser, which helped a lot. I also tried to draw with the eraser as hairs, and I think that I used highlights more correctly. I still think it looks way too streaky and that I used too much heavy color where there wasn't supposed to be. So this was supposed to be lighter because this is supposed to be the darkest color. But it's the same as here, and that's not how it's supposed to look. But I do think that it turned out better than I expected or hoped, I guess. But I definitely will keep trying. And if you have any suggestions on how to make this better or what I should do to make this better, and not just hair, any kind of drawing tips, please send them to me because I need help. As you can see, it's not the greatest, but I'm kind of proud of this one. Yeah. So that's where I am going to end this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and please subscribe. I'm very new. I'm still a beginner, but I'm trying to learn. So I hope I'll see you next time.